Why are we here, Ryan? What happened? Why'd you come up with this idea?
Well, yeah, so Aaron and Gina and I were talking, we're having a candid conversation when someone brought up Mother's Day, just reminiscing about our mothers, like really happy memories that we had of our moms, or like times that we were really embarrassed by our moms, or things
Hmm.
that our mothers have like instilled in us and taught us. And it sparked it was a really cute discussion. I wish I had recorded that one. So then I messaged you guys. I feel
Hmm.
like this would be fun.
I do have one thing that literally just popped in my head. Wasn't thinking about this before when you texted. I think it was me and Sean, um, but Brett Landstad had 007 on Nintendo 64 up in his bedroom, and me and Sean like snuck out into the woods over to Brett's house, went into his bedroom, and was playing 007 for an hour.
What?
And and then all of a sudden, Mom kicks in Brett's bedroom door. She's in their house, and she grabs both of us by like our hair, our shirts, and literally drags us out of the Landstead's house all the way back home, screaming at us.
Wow. I do remember her coming into Brett's room. I don't remember
Yeah,
like did we
like
sneak out? I mean, we must have like been there
yeah, we
eventually.
snuck through the woods. It was like we were totally being little shits and lied to her. But it was, and looking back at it, it was probably so like easy for her to know what was going on. She
Was
probably
it
just
like
called. She
was it
probably just
like
called their house, and she was
yeah.
what's Brett's mom's called?
Luann.
Luann. And Luann was probably like, yeah, they're here. They're just upstairs playing games.
Was it like we were just outside she let us outside playing but she didn't want us to go over to Brett's house or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah, I remember being so embarrassed, like that Brett, getting drug out of his bedroom like that.
Uh-huh.
So that's one I'll never forget.
Yep.
That's
It
pretty
must
funny.
have been
I
like
actually,
third grade.
when I was
Yeah.
thinking about this, actually Brett Landstad came up in my memories as well.
Mhm.
But I was thinking about just the way that mom was like, just the way that mom was so motherly to all of our friends.
Mhm.
And particularly, like, I just remember how much she would give Brett like a hard time and like tease him, but was also just always there for him. Like, I think he had detention one time or had to like stay home from, so he was suspended or something. And mom had him work in the yard all day
Hmm.
with
What?
her. That's a memory that I have. Yeah. And like he had a great, like he ended up having a great time, like a great day with her.
Is this
But
like
she just
elementary
kind of,
school-ish?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
He
God.
was young. But just that she was, even though she had held people to a high standard and would call out people's shit, like kids as shit, she was always really like there for people, and a lot of our friends I think really felt comfortable
Mhm.
sharing kind of some deep things with her.
Hmm.
That's my memory.
Yeah. A lot of people really like the Bolbies, the Bolby parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
I have another one. I think I was working at McDonald's. I was maybe 17, still in high school, and there was
She
this one guy there that
she
I
busted
met
into
who wasn't.
McDonald's and drug you out by your hair.
No. No, but there's this one guy I met there that wasn't a part of like the friendship group that was working at McDonald's, and I slowly got to know him. Found out he played guitar, and I thought he was like it was so cool because I was kind of new to drum still. And he came over and jammed in the attic with us or with me like twice. And I remember one time he came in and met mom and dad, and mom like after he left, got like such a bad vibe. And after the second time he came over and practiced with me, and she talked to him again, I remember afterwards, mom told me I should stop hanging out with him.
Mm.
And it was one of the first times in my life, like, our parents like actually told me like this person is not good and you shouldn't spend time with them. And I remember them saying it's because he is one of these people that like lies all the time. And I was so confused at how they could tell just by like only meeting him for 5 minutes. And then I remember throughout the next like several months working at McDonald's, I started realizing it too. Like just them pointing it out made me realize it. And like everything he said was just like he was just a BSer constantly. And after that, I stopped like hanging out with him. And I always thought that was pretty cool because he definitely was kind of a weird guy who probably could have gotten me into trouble when I was 17. And yeah, Mom called it out first.
The guy, I feel like it was younger when you hung out with a guy who, didn't you like, I remember you saying you stayed up all night playing Zelda with him.
Oh, Kevin Tollefson.
Yeah.
No, that was different. But yeah, he had some bad. That was different. Mom kind of more sympathized with him because she saw that he probably had a bad home life, and that his stepfather wasn't very nice. And no, Mom never told me to not hang out with him, but I do remember Mom like really pointing out the fact that it was probably an abusive household. And even after that, I remember I started seeing more and more when I'd hang out with Kevin. But yeah, that was different.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that story. Mom has done that to me. I can recall one occasion. Yeah, where she like said something about a friend of mine, and I was like, oh, okay, that's weird that after like 5 minutes you could pick up on these things. And about a year, I remained friends with them for about a year, and then things started showing in a different way for me. Like, wow, Mom called it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And she was good. She has always been really good at distinguishing between like people who have had a difficult time and like there are certain reasons why they might be the way they are, and like being very empathetic about those things that they have in their history versus someone who's just like a bit of trouble that you need to like watch out for.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if she ever didn't like any of my friends. I don't know if she ever did.
Yeah, I can't think of any. Another thing I'm thinking of. I do think about this often. Actually, I think when I'm reminiscing with like Zach and David and stuff, was a quick tangent. What they went through when we started doing those concerts at the Hole in our garage, and there was multiple times when there was like 75 high school kids just partying at our house. And thinking back on it now, I'd be like, if I was a parent, I would never let that many just like unsupervised children for the drinking in the woods, hanging out, like. And I know Mom and Dad eventually put a stop to it, but I am pretty amazed that they like at least entertained the idea for as long as they did.
For like several shows.
For several shows, as opposed to just shutting it down instantly.
In the garage with like all of Dad's power tools and like right next to his table saw. And like you guys just cleared out the garage.
Right. It was a huge thing. I don't know. I guess maybe it comes down to them kind of like wanting to support us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For what we were trying to put on. But yeah, they did put up with a lot of crap in that.
I think they genuinely like loved your friends as well, and like really cared about a lot of the people you're hanging out with.
Like Gabe's girlfriend.
Mom loves Elizabeth. Loves her.
So one thing I wanted to ask you guys about is, I have very vivid memories of Mom sitting me, and I think you guys too at sometimes. I just don't think you guys cared as much as I did, sitting us down to watch the scariest like documentaries on 60 Minutes or Oprah about like children being stolen or children being shoved into the back of a car, like how to escape from the back of a car.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
I don't
I
even
just
remember.
like time and time again, Sean, you probably don't remember because
Oh.
it never phased
Yeah.
you, but it gave me like I was such a terrified child, and I wonder if any of it has anything to do with all the like scary things that
Oprah.
mom
Actually, I do
made me
kind of
sit down and
remember.
watch.
I do kind of remember. I don't know if I remember like all the time, but actually I do remember a few Oprah specials about child abductions.
The 60 minutes, like, ticking of that watch
Uh-huh.
is, like, still kind of a horrifying thing. Because every time mom would watch it, that show would be so, like, scary.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few more,
Yeah, go for
but
it.
they are later on. Another thing
That's all right.
that mom did for, I guess, with me specifically because I was younger, but they left me when I graduated high school when I was still 17 years old.
They've left you?
And
What's that mean?
they left me. I was an underage child, and they moved to Italy.
Oh,
It doesn't
yeah, I
even
guess
seem
they
legal.
Before you graduated?
Yeah.
would've. What? You went to Italy when you were still in high school?
No. Mom and dad went to Italy.
They left your senior year.
Right.
Yeah. While I was still in high school.
Yeah, and then that summer. That's right.
And that August, we
summer
went to
you
visit them.
Yeah, spring you graduated, and then summer we went to visit them.
They had already been gone for many
Yeah, it was
months.
like- they were there for like 6 months before.
They trusted Rianne. They trusted you guys
Yeah.
to, I guess, watch out for me.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty cool that they like trusted me enough at 17 years old
Yeah.
just to get up and go
was
like that.
Leanne still living there?
Yeah, Rianne
came
was
back
living
in
in
the
mom dad's
summer.
bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Because I had
okay.
just graduated from Western. So I think I came back in like
So you
June
weren't there before
or May.
we went to Europe.
Right. I think
Or maybe
was
for a little bit during the summer, maybe before.
yeah, I was there for a couple months over the summer.
You were there over the summer for sure. I remember.
Yeah. I remember like spring dad a little bit into this, so he doesn't feel too left out. But we went and visited them in Italy, and I remember at one point while we were in Italy, Dad had to come back to take care of some passport stuff or workers visa stuff. So he came back, and we finished up our trip. It's 2 months, and I literally spent the last like $5 in Glasgow on breakfast. It was like an English proper English fry up, like beans and egg and bacon and sausage or something for me and Brandon. Brandon was completely out of money. I had like literally $5, and we flew home, and there was $100 bill on each of our pillows. And
I remember
all
that.
the money we had in the world. Plus, we had a huge house full of food, so I think we were fine, like for probably a month's worth of food. But
That's pretty
then I had to
amazing.
get a job after
Aw.
that.
Rianne, you spotted me like $200 on that trip at the end, right? Or
I can't
more.
remember.
It was like $400 for me to because I was out of money,
You guys just ran
and
out.
to do the last couple like countries, you just gave me money and then enough for me to get back home, and then I got that extra 100 from dad or whatnot, and yeah.
Yeah, that was literally the
Saved
brokest
me.
I've ever been in my life. It's probably since I started my bank account in elementary school at with Washington Mutual. probably put like $50 in that bank account. And then
Mm-hmm.
from then on, I had like maybe $5 in my checking account.
I always appreciated how much mom, I guess, and dad like knew when trusted us enough and knew at least when we like were or weren't lying. I remember there was one really extreme thing that happened when I was 18, coming back from Eastern Washington, and we got pulled over on the side of the highway. And I was still 17. I was under 18. They put Nick in the back in a police car, and they found acid in his pocket. And I was still 17, and so I still hadn't drank, smoked, or anything at that point in my life. And then Nick all of a sudden was in a cop car, like handcuffed, finding like acid, in his pants. And so I was like panicking, and I was handcuffed on the side of the road. And because I was underage, they made me call my parents. And anyways, I actually think it was Dad who answered the phone, but both of them were there. And I had to tell them what was going on, but I told them, like, don't be mad. None of this is for me, and I haven't done anything like this. And they just like straight up believed me, like they didn't even question it. And I remember when I came back home from Eastern Washington, like it wasn't like I got grounded. It's not like they thought I was doing acid over in Eastern Washington all weekend. They just like knew I was telling the truth. That was pretty cool.
Do you guys remember any specific stories of lying to mom or dad or both?
Do you?
Well, I have two. One of them is actually I didn't lie, but it's a story about lying. So I guess I'll start with that. And then the second one will be, I don't know if it's a confession for mom or if she knew the whole time. But the first one was I think it must have been high school or something, and it was like a weekend, and I had called mom, like asked if Zach could come over and to hang out, and she said no. And like I kind of got mad at her, I think, and then I like called Dad and tried to get him to come over, and then like I don't know, it was like a kind of a back and forth thing, and I was mad at them for not letting him come over. And then it turned out there was like a big windstorm or something that day, and a tree fell across Zach's road, so the bus couldn't actually get up the road to drop him off. So I mean, he just like asked, like, I can't get home, can I just come over to your house? And I was like, oh, it should be fine. And so then like I got home, and I think maybe I called mom or she called me, and I told her, and she like, I think she didn't believe me, and she actually called the school and checked to see if that was true. And then she called back and was like, okay, I called the school, you can hang out.
She was
after they had already said no.
Yeah.
That sounds like such a lie.
Yeah. I was like, I think maybe I was grounded or something. I don't know. There's something where I thought it was unfair of them to not let me hang out with Zach.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't get it. It was, so you were lying, or Zach had lied to you?
No, I was telling the truth. That actually happened.
Oh, it actually did.
The bus couldn't get up to Zach's house to drop him off. I'm sure he could have, like, the policy would be that he would just hang out at the school until the parent would come pick him up, which, I don't know how long he would have had to have been there, but I just, without asking mom and dad, said that it would be fine if he came over.
What's your confession?
My confession is, I used to skip classes every once in a while, especially like the lunch period when when it was like, you know, there were 3 different lunches, and one of them was, you know, I would stay for, I had first lunch, and then all my friends would come to lunch, and I would just hang out for all of lunch with friends. And I mean, I don't think I skipped school that often. Senior year, every once in a while, I just totally skipped school. But every time I did, I would get a call, and she would say, I got a call about you skipped class. And I said, yeah, I don't know what that's about. Maybe, I don't know. I guess I had a substitute teacher in like second period. So maybe she just, that happened or something. And I never got in trouble for it. I don't know if she just like believed me, or if she was just
didn't, you weren't failing anything, so she maybe
not that
just
my grades
thought
were that great in high school, but yeah, I wasn't failing anything.
Sean, I didn't know you skipped class.
I didn't know that either.
I don't think I ever skipped class in my life.
I mean, that was every once in a while. That was an easy one to skip. And then, like, in high school, or senior year, you know, senioritis, I skipped class every once in a while. And then, actually, when I was dating Alex, I would go over to her house. I would always go over to her house to pick her up. And we would often just, like, fall asleep and skip first period. And then go to school.
So bad.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Mom ever knew.
Yeah, I'm really curious too.
How about you, Rianne? Did you ever lie to Mom?
What?
Did Rianne ever lie to Mom?
I don't have any vivid memories of having lied. I feel like it would have been more about, Mom was always really good at knowing when to probe deeper, like when I wasn't like giving the full truth about things, or I wasn't explaining why I was like in a bad mood, or why I was upset about something, or like anxious about something. I just remember, I don't know, like something at school would have bothered me, like maybe I'm trying to think of why. Like maybe I had an issue with a friend, or maybe there was like, I was never bullied, but sometimes like watching interactions at high school would really bother me, like the way that people would treat each other, and things would get to me, or I'd be like anxious about something, like something came up at school that made me scared. Like say we had like an intruder, if we had an intruder drill or something, that would scare me.
Because of Mom's Oprah videos?
Because of her 60-minute
episodes?
Yeah, so I'd like be really quiet or like withdrawn, and she'd always know why. It was kind of weird. She was kind of weird like that. Or know to ask me more, or to, investigate a bit. That's more my memory. I don't think I ever really lied. I remember like going over to Jen's house, like off the bus, kind of like you, Sean. Like since Jen and I were on the same bus route, sometimes I'd just go over to Jen's house without asking Mom, and I did get in trouble a few times.
Really?
Like, drag me back home. Like, you get home right now.
Bust in the front door and grab you by your hair.
I never recall being dragged by the ears like you two.
I have an old memory. It's actually creeped up a few times in my present. So, I don't think you guys did this, but when I would have to go to the bathroom, when I was really young, I would call out Mom or Dad in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Did you guys do this, or was it just me?
I think it was just
I was
you.
Super scared. Okay. Do you guys remember this?
I don't.
I remember you being scared of like the dark and being upstairs by yourself.
Yeah. So for some, I would go to the bathroom like every other night at 2 a.m. And as soon as I wake up, open my eyes, I would just go, Mom, Mom! And then I would wait, and I'd hear them get out of bed, whoever was doing it that night, and they'd go stand at the hallway door, and I would just get up and go to the bathroom.
I do remember that.
And then I'd come back, and they'd still be at the door, and then I would go back in my bedroom and like stand still, half asleep, just stay in the hallway, letting me go to the bathroom. I'd run back in my bedroom and like go into the covers and try to collect it. And I've actually, maybe in the last 6 years, it's happened twice, where I've woken up in the middle of the night and just shouting "Mom" because of like that, not because of any dream, but just because like just this old memory of that's a habit. As soon as I wake up to call so I can go to the bathroom. And then while I'm doing and I've always been alone when I did it, but like
I mean, you have your blanket.
I remember it happened at my last apartment once.
Wake up in the middle of the night, you have your blanket right there.
I think I'm 5 years old.
Right back.
Yeah.
Brandon, real quick, do you have anything Destiny running in the background or anything like that? You're at like a frame per 3 seconds.
Oh, let me close stuff. Let's keep going. Let's keep going though.
Yeah, your audio is perfectly fine, which is why I haven't said anything. But yeah, I don't know.
What other memories do you guys have?
Well, on what you just said about the night times, I've been remembering that lately, and just how like trying to actually think of it from a parent standpoint. Like as a kid, I had absolutely no concern for how well mom and dad were sleeping. And just like, it was all about making sure I was comfortable going to sleep and like I was taken care of. And so, yeah, I definitely, I woke them up so many times. Just being, like if I had any issues, I'd just be like, Mom, Dad, like I need help sleeping, or I need I remember mom was a bit less tolerant. Dad would like, at the drop of a hat, he would just like come and like lay with me or whatever, or let me like snuggle in with them. But yeah, just now that I'm thinking back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like Dad had to wake up so early. He was like working in Renton. It's like an hour commute each way, like overtime. Mom was taking care of 3 kids. Like they must have been absolutely exhausted, and then we're like interrupting their sleep even as like
I have to go to the bathroom.
You're just like,
I'm 8 years old, but I'm still seeing you. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
I guess my I wanted to share one other one of how mom. Do you guys remember mom talking on the phone?
I have a vague memory of the phone with a really long cord.
I just recall, I have a lot of memories of mom talking to people like Ann Bailey, Patty, Shelley, like a lot of different friends, and also like coaching a lot of friends through things. Or just kind of being that support for them, especially I think with her background in working for the Center for Battered Women and Domestic Violence. Like she was oftentimes a person that a lot of her friends would, I think, come to and feel comfortable sharing, and she would really like get into things with them. And I remember I found her voice and her having those conversations with people so comforting. Like I would love it when she was on the phone while I was going to sleep. And sometimes to hear her better, like if I couldn't sleep, I would like crawl out on the, like she was down in the living room, and I'd like crawl out and like sit behind the banister and just like listen to her phone conversation. Because I found it so comforting and like so interesting the way that she would ask questions and just like, I don't know, respond to people. And I've found throughout my life that I also enjoy, maybe it's something internal, or maybe it was because of like how I listen to mom, but I really enjoy just like sitting and listening to friends talk to each other. Like I don't have to necessarily interact, but I find it very comforting just hearing people kind of sharing sharing things with each other. It's like very soothing. I attribute it back to like listening to mom.
Yeah, I think it's too vague, but I think I do remember like going to bed and hearing talking, whatever it happened to be, maybe mom on the phone or not, and that would help me be like less scared when I'd be in my dark room, when I could still hear people out in the hallway or downstairs. So that's such a fleeting memory. I don't really, yeah.
Can you guys remember all of the sleeping configurations that we had?
Yes.
And their order. So
in order.
I think I remember me and Rianne had a bunk bed in my room.
Yeah.
At one point.
I remember that.
And I have a memory of we had a tube thing, and wouldn't we talk through the tube?
Yes.
You were on the top bunk, right? I think you were on the top bunk.
I think so. Or maybe we traded off. But yes, I definitely remember the tube. Because we had to be quiet. So we had to talk through the tube.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's where I ripped, Jessica's head off, Brandon? Do you remember that?
I think I was too young for that.
Oh, yeah.
But
you'd
remember.
Got stuck between the bed and the wall, and I ripped Jessica's head off. And
Baby Jessica.
Were very sad. Jessica, Brandon's little doll. And then I also remember in that room, like, mom somewhat regularly coming in and vacuuming while we were sleeping.
Like in the morning?
Do you remember that was something that mom would do regularly? I think, and I remember
vacuum in the morning.
Yeah, or like maybe naps or something too, but she would just like come right in and vacuum while we were sleeping, and I think I remember hearing her tell a friend or something that she does it to try and it helps us like sleep through things.
She's trying to desensitize us to noise.
We nap, small things don't wake us up from naps if she does stuff like that. So
that is true for me.
Yeah.
That's so smart.
What else you got? Or maybe that's it.
We also had trundle beds. All three of our beds were in the room next to mom and dad's. At one point, we would bounce from bed to bed.
Was it a trundle bed and then a separate bed?
Yeah.
For all three of us? Okay.
And yeah, I think we were just like so excited to all be sleeping in the same room, but I think it was extra hard to get us to go to sleep because we'd instigate each other and just like bounce around the room and talk to each other.
I do have my might be my earliest memory. I was in a crib, and somehow I remember, or think I remember, it being in my room, and I even remember it being on the wall, like the computer wall, like where the computer is on the other side of the wall, so like right there next to the door, and I vaguely have a memory of a giant caterpillar, like those black caterpillars that were all over the place, one of those crawling all over me, and I got really scared and screamed and cried, and I don't remember mom or dad or both came in, but that might have been the thing that
it's a pretty early memory.
Consciousness. And actually, I'm kind of curious if they remember. Was my crib? it was like a wooden crib in my
Yeah,
room.
but that could be from
on
the
that
location
wall.
could be from videos too, though, that you've seen.
But I have a very specific memory of a caterpillar, like
Yeah, the
dragging
caterpillar, that
caterpillar
was very
crawling all
specific.
over me. Yeah, I guess
Knocked you into consciousness.
yeah, the fear
So
of the
terrifying.
caterpillar. Yeah, I wonder if my crib was ever right there, or if I even was. Yeah, I guess I would have been in a crib in that house, right? I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been. I wouldn't have graduated to a bed by the time we moved in.
No.
Yeah.
You would have been in a crib.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
How's that? Hey,
think that
happy
was awesome.
Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day,
Happy
Mom.
Mother's Day.
We love
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.